Going on, chat? Welcome back to Bad Takes Better Conversations. We got a special episode, one we haven't done in a while. We got a debate: Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson. I'm one of your hosts, Russell's about to be helping moderate. But we do have a judge, and he's one of our hosts. Go ahead, Tommy.
Another
Ugh.
episode. Don't do that, Ghost. What is this? 160? 160 of
Episode
them things.
160.
160 of them things, and we got a big one. We got Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson debate going on, man. It's gonna be a good one, bro. And as he said, I'm your judge today. I'm calling it right down the middle. No funny, no shenanigans, none of that. Yeah, man. Let's go ahead and get to Ghost.
Ladies and gentlemen, once
God.
again,
God.
your IWA champion is here. Now, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I had PTO put in today, Ron,
Why are
Russell
you
Spot
here?
already knows. I'm here because I'm pulling an Esco. Someone's gotta be Esco today. I'm here to tell y'all, champ's here, and now the champ's leaving. So, also, go Esco.
Whoa.
Bye, guys!
I didn't think he would say that
See you later,
ever.
champ.
That was fucking crazy. I don't need an introduction. I'm also going to be here moderating it with WrestleSpot tonight. I'm Lee. You could say I am the champion of Cam's podcast right now. So yeah, there's that. But let's just get into this debate. Esco and Cam.
Sup, Doc? Sup, Doc? Sup, Pert? T. Marie? Dante?
Yo, shout out everyone in the chat. And what's good?
He can
Sure,
he
let's
can
start with,
introduce himself first. This my show, so he can introduce himself first.
Oh wow.
Hi guys. This is Cam. Hi guys. This is Cam. You can find me every Thursday on the Rated M podcast. Over on Rated M Wrestling. Also, you can find me over there pretty much. Also, you can find me over there pretty much every day of the week. I'm over there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, pretty much any day of the week doing the watch-alongs with Chris. Pretty much every day of the week doing the watch-alongs with Chris when I do show up for those. But you can primarily find me on the Rated M podcast on Thursdays. So.
Nice. Let's go.
I mean, I don't really need an introduction. I'm Mr. BTBC. I'm the first ever world champion. I'm the first ever two-time world champion. I am also the mega star of Talk with Blaze. I show up when I feel like it. Whenever I appear, y'all will see me on a Tuesday. Haven't felt like it. I'm a busy man, okay? Just like I've been slipping. I have not been on BTBC. But listen, I'm a busy
business.
man. My schedule is it benefits BTBC because I'm doing BTBC business. I'm doing meetings. I'm doing interviews with potential clients. I'm everywhere. But see, I'm going to try to make it back as much as I can. Just bear with me. I'm a mega star. I'm a number one guy. But yeah, I'm here to defend my GOAT, the one true GOAT of professional wrestling, Bryan Danielson.
Before we start, I just noticed it's Tommy. Me, you, and Spot had the exact same reaction to everything Esco said.
What do you mean? Esco's been on business, man.
I mean, he's not showing it. He's not showing the business yet. But Esco, I'm still waiting.
Work in silence, man. Work in silence.
Business, eh? Business.
Listen, it's business.
All right, are we getting into this debate or what?
All right. So we're kind of just gonna give you all talk about matches, different categories, but I'm gonna put a 45-minute time limit. That sound good to y'all?
Okay. That's all right.
As soon as that goes off, it's over. Or if we feel like it's just bad, stop it. But
So are we breaking this down into categories and stuff?
yeah, we'll start with matches. Tommy, if you want to go ahead and get them started.
All right, guys. I need a clean debate. All right. I don't need no funny business. I don't need no low blows. All right. First category, matches. I don't know who wants to go first. I feel like Esco's gonna tell Kevin to go first because it's his show. So
yeah, it is my show. Thank you for acknowledging that, Tommy.
No. Okay, whatever. Go ahead, Cam. Take it away, man. Take it away. Matches. Go ahead.
Okay, well, Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson, they both have a very. I would argue that match catalog. You could argue their I would argue with match catalog. You could argue that they're pretty much on the. I would argue King Jones. I like that comment. I would argue with match catalog. You could argue that they pretty much are on the same level. I think these are two guys who easily have an argument for being. I think these are two guys who easily have an argument for being two. Can y'all hear me? By the way, can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I think these are two guys who you can easily make an argument. I don't even think it is an argument, but these are two guys that should unanimously be in people's top 10 in-ring workers of all times list. In-ring workers of all time list with Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. Personally, I think they're top 5. Personally, I think they're top 5. If not, then. Personally, I think they're top 5. If not, then I think they're in the 7-1 range. And if not, then I think both of them are in the 7-1 range. I think you can make a legitimate argument for. But for matches with me with Kenny Omega, it's definitely the later part. It's definitely the last few. Trying to think back, going to like 2015, 2016, up until 2024 or up until 2025, where you could look at Kenny's matches and you could argue that Kenny's matches are better than Bryan's. I think you look at something like a Wrestle Kingdom, for example. Wrestle Kingdom, I don't remember the exact. I don't remember which Wrestle Kingdom it was. Wrestle Kingdom 2017 with Kenny and Okada. The fact that many people, when that match happened, considered that match to be many people. The fact that when that match happened, considered Kenny and Okada to be the greatest match of all time outside of Shawn, considered that match to be the greatest match of all time outside of Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And you had people calling it, and you had people calling it the greatest match of all, and you had people calling it the greatest match of all time. And you look at his trilogy, of matches with Okada, one of the greatest trilogies, and you look at the trilogy matches with Okada, one of the greatest trilogies, one of the greatest trilogies that we've ever seen in pro wrestling. You look at Wrestle Kingdom, you look at their match at Wrestle Kingdom, you look at their match, you look at their match at Wrestle Kingdom, you look at their match at the G1, and then you look at their match at Dominion. I think it was only 2018. All those matches that year were phenomenal. You could argue all those matches were phenomenal, and in particular, I think the Wrestle Kingdom match is easily the best of the bunch. But that match is still great. You look at something like Kenny Omega. You look at something like Kenny Omega. You look at something like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, for example. Both those matches. I'm sorry for stuttering a lot, by the way. Speaking over my words, this is kind of how I talk. But you look at something like Kenny and Will Ospreay, for example. Two of the best matches in 2023. I think those were undisputedly two of the best matches in 2023. I think the only other match that year that comes close to being, in a match of the year conversation that year was the IC title triple threat at Mania. Outside of that, it was the IC title triple threat at Mania, and then outside of that, you could argue it was the IC title triple threat at Mania, and then Kenny and Ospreay, and then both Kenny and Ospreay matches. For both 1 and 2, you could argue those are the best matches of 2023. The fact that you could argue that Kenny Omega has the greatest the fact that you could argue that Kenny Omega was a part of the greatest tag team match of all time in 2018 is Strong Style Evolved. Kenny and Kota Ibushi against the Young Bucks is Strong Style Evolved. The fact that you can make an argument that that's the greatest tag team match wrestling has ever seen. The fact that you can make an argument that Kenny and Hangman. The fact that you can make an argument that Kenny and Hangman against the Bucks from Revolution 2020 is another one of the greatest tag team matches. Is another one of the greatest tag team matches you've ever seen. Where I think Kenny has the edge for me, though, in terms of matches, would be in terms of matches. Why I think his matches are better, because both their matches are phenomenal. But in terms of why Kenny's matches are just better, I think Kenny Omega is just a much better in-ring storyteller than Bryan Danielson. I think the stories that he's able to craft. I shouldn't say much better. But I think he's a better.
I like to stand on it.
I shouldn't say much better, but I think he's a better storyteller than Bryan. But I think he's a better storyteller in the ring than Bryan Danielson. You look at the story. You look at the stories that he was. You look at the stories he was able to tell. Like for example, like for example, you look at the Will Ospreay guy. For example, let's bring up the Wrestle Kingdom and the Forbidden Door matches with Will Ospreay, right? The story, right? The story of Kenny and Ospreay won and going in. Will Ospreay wanted to prove that he was the best wrestler in the world, and he kept trying to knock on Kenny Omega's door. And Kenny Omega basically told Will Ospreay, "Dude, bro, you don't want none of these problems. Like the only reason you're running, bro, you don't want none of these problems. Like the only reason you're running shit in Japan is because I'm not there. If I was still in Japan, bro, you'd be carrying my bags." Ospreay kept poking the bear. Ospreay kept poking the bear. Kenny went there, and that match is 30 minutes of Kenny Omega dog walking Will Ospreay, basically. He's dog walking Will Ospreay. And then you look at the Forbidden Door match. The Forbidden Door match and then you look at the Forbidden Door match. The Forbidden Door is Kenny Omega telling Will Ospreay, bro, everything you can do, I can do better. Everything you can do, I can do better because I'm just better than you. Because I'm just a better professional wrestler than you. And they go out there, and they tell that story. You look at something like Kenny and Okada. That match went an hour, right? And you look at something like Kenny and Okada. That match either went 45 minutes or an hour, I think, because both these men could not figure out how to beat the other man. It was just absolutely incredible, right? It was just both these men could not figure out how to beat the other man. It was absolutely incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Even now, you look at Kenny's, right? Even now, when you look at Kenny's matches, Kenny Omega is obviously not. He's not the same athlete. I don't think he was ever a great athlete, but like he's not the same athlete or like the same performer that he was because Kenny Omega is very beat up. We all know that Kenny Omega has a lot of. We know that he's dealing with a lot of injuries and his body's breaking down. But the fact that because his storytelling in the ring is still so very, very good, that he's still able to go in there and he's still able to produce matches that you could argue is still match of the year quality, or at least that you could still argue a match of the year quality, says something. And if we're looking at who's a better, right, and if we're looking at who's a better in-ring worker, right, and if we're looking at who's a better in-ring worker, I think storytelling plays a large role in it. It's why somebody like Hiroshi Tanahashi, for example, even though Hiroshi Tanahashi is 48 years old and Hiroshi Tanahashi is even though Hiroshi Tanahashi is 48 years old and Hiroshi Tanahashi is very, very beat up and really should not be in a wrestling ring anymore. One of the things with Tana's matches that he's still able to draw people with is the fact that he's such a very good storyteller in his matches, and that he's very good with his instincts. Like he knows when he's supposed to make the babyface comeback and all that, or like he's so good at. He's just really, really good at entering storytelling. That's something I would argue that Kenny is better at when you look at the matches in his career. Even though Danielson is a much better technician than Kenny Omega. I don't think Kenny's a bad technician, but even though Danielson is a much better in-ring technician than Kenny Omega, I think Kenny Omega is a better storyteller than somebody. I think Kenny Omega is a better storyteller than somebody like Bryan Danielson. It's why people still have Shawn Michaels as. It's why people still have Shawn Michaels as like the greatest in-ring worker of all time. Because even though Shawn Michaels isn't going in there, even though Shawn Michaels isn't going in there, right, and he's not putting on, right, and he's not going in there, he doesn't have the technical ability of somebody like a Kurt Angle or like a Kurt Angle of like a Nigel McGuinness. His storytelling is still really, really good, and the fact that he's so versatile, he can go in there, he can give you any kind of match you want. Danielson can too. Danielson is really, really good at that too. But I just think that's why I would argue Kenny Omega for the better in-ring worker. I would also argue that Kenny Omega is a better elevator. I would also argue that Kenny Omega is a better elevator in the ring of talent than Danielson is. Kenny Omega worked with Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Kingdom and worked with Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Kingdom. And even though Gabe Kidd was on the rise, a lot more people are talking about Gabe Kidd now because of the match that he had with Kenny Omega, his first match back, than I think people have ever talked about Gabe Kidd throughout his career. So that's why I would give the point to Kenny Omega. That's my argument there. Sorry for rambling or stumbling up words. I see Soldier in the chat says I don't make sense. Okay, but
Yeah.
that's my argument for Omega.
Nah, but all right. Let's go, Carter. Go ahead and give me the rebuttal.
Okay. I love me some Kenny. Everybody knows me. I love me some Kenny Omega, right? But we have to be realistic with ourselves. Yes, the shit he was doing from 2017 to even this year has been literally some of the best work we've ever seen. Some shit I don't think we will ever see again. But it's a lot of factors and a lot of like things where it points to Danielson, right? So we look at Kenny Omega's work. Mind you, I followed Kenny's career since early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s. Nobody on this planet, when we talk about in-ring workers, when we talk about greatest matches of all time, talk about any Kenny match pre 2017. Now, am I saying that that's an issue? Not per se, but for this debate, I find it an issue only because at that time Kenny Omega was 33 years old. He at that point wasn't really established. Like, yeah, he was a former junior heavyweight champion, Bullet Club member. Things had to change. AJ left. We had to do something. They made him the focal point. They made him the guy. Not saying it was too late, but at the same time, you have to think about it. This man debuted in the year 2000. So it took him 17 years to reach that status of one of the all-time greats in rings. And that's just by having, I don't want to say mid performances, but not any rememberable performances unless he's wrestling a 9-year-old child or a doll. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I like that it's added to his resume because it shows he has character, range, and everything. But if you look at a Bryan Danielson who debuted in 1999, it only took him 5 years for him to be labeled the best wrestler in the world at age 23. He had amazing matches at just his early 20s from Roderick Strong, you have Nigel McGuinness, you have Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, CM Punk, you have Morishima, which when we talk about storytelling, the matches that he has with guys that has the upper advantage, like a Brock Lesnar, like a Morishima, like a John Cena, like mind you, Bryan Danielson made Cena look like a hooper. I'm not saying Cena can't hoop, but during a time when people think that John Cena can't wrestle, he's putting up top tier performances with Bryan. Now, has Kenny made mid people look good? Yes. But you also have to think about the time period. It did take Kenny Omega a long time, a long years of hard work and try to perfect his craft. Danielson perfected his craft in his early 20s. He was a world champion in his early 20s. He was already being told he is better than anybody in WWE in 2004. In 2004, they labeled that man the greatest wrestler in the world at 23 years old by putting on top tier performances every single time he was in the ring. That man has, I think, other than maybe Shawn Michaels, Bryan Danielson is the only person I can think of off the top of my head that has an instant classic in 3 different decades. I can pull up like 5 or 6 instant classics in the 2000s. I can pull up maybe like 4 or 5 when he was in WWE in the 2010s, and then fast forward to the 2020s, we've seen his work in AEW. I don't think we've seen a wrestler like Bryan Danielson since Shawn Michaels. And that's one of the things that I love because, yes, he's so-called was trained under Shawn, even though it was all William Regal. But he took what he learned from a Shawn and he took what he learned from a William Regal and perfected it and took it beyond what he was taught. Everything that Shawn did, Bryan was able to do, but expanded it a lot further. And if we look at Shawn as one of the greatest in ring, and then you have his protege come in and overdo that, that's like what more can we get out of somebody who's followed after the great and made his own name and became one of the greatest even earlier, like quicker than Shawn did. It took Sean a minute. You know, I ain't gonna fault him for it. Tag team scene, whatever. But Danielson made his own path, and he did it. He didn't need the WWE way, just like Kenny. But it was when Kenny's time period and Bryan's time period is different. Back then, in the 2000s and even 2010s, you needed that WWE to be known. Maybe even TNA during a certain time period, but he went to neither. He was a Ring of Honor indie guy, and his name was ringing bells throughout the whole entire world. That is something we did not see. Like, and that's just off of matches. When WWE is hot and we don't give a fuck about match quality, and then he goes to WWE and he's giving us top tier matches. He's making us care about matches as WWE fans. He's making us care about how great these matches are. With long and it's like, okay, in WWE he got what? Cesaro, Cena, Punk, Triple H, Randy, and Batista. Like the match catalog itself, I think clears a lot of wrestlers, and that's why I think Danielson gets that point.
Okay. So, in Russ spot, I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to do? You just want to get through all the categories first before we like assigning who won what topic, or we even? How do you
We'll
want?
get
How
to
do you
all of them
want?
first. We'll get to
All
all
right,
of them first.
bet.
But
I'll let chat kind of decide and see what they feel about how each side kind of talked about the match catalog and just the matches category. The next one I want to get into. Well, Russ spot, do you have the next one already?
real
Before I
quick,
say?
I was gonna say influence, but you can go ahead and with that one. But whichever, if
Well,
it's
no,
better.
actually, no, it's not. Influence
Oh.
is good. Influence is actually a big one.
But we do have 28 minutes left, so let's try to round it about 5 minutes per person here.
I bet. Well, you gotta help me because I can't see you.
I'll let you know.
I bet. All right, but yeah. All right, influence. It says Cameron first last time. Esco, take it away, my man.
Influence, I think Bryan Danielson is the perfect person that when we talk about influence of wrestlers, Bryan Danielson is the epitome of that because people who watch wrestling, like the wrestlers that actually watch wrestling and pay attention to wrestling, they love Bryan Danielson. They have him at the top of their list because he was the one who took his influences and made it into something. You look at Bryan Danielson, and we get people like a Zack Sabre Jr., we get people like a Will Ospreay, we get people like a trying to think of some names here. I know they right here. Chris Ridgway. I feel like I fucked his name up, but Chris Ridgway and want to say Noah. Bryan Danielson was in terms of influence and impactfulness. You got to look at what he took for WWE. With WWE, like I said previously, not being a in-ring market, he took that and was like, okay, I could give you good storytelling. I could give you good promos or whatever, but I'm going to do it and make sure the fans are entertained in-ring as well. Like, when there are people, not me per se, but there are people that will have Daniel Bryan in their top 10 WWEs all time because of what he did during his time period. It even, matter of fact, his influence even in WWE wrestlers, because during the Yes movement, we seen people like The Miz do copy something off of that. We seen Alberto Del Rio get over because of C chants. Like his influence within the company he was in with other superstars is shown even like while he's active. So I mean, I could go on further, but my thought process ain't even all the way there for the influence. But he definitely now Kenny got it, but I think it's yet to really show yet because Kenny is still, in my opinion, still progressing and finding new ways to evolve wrestling. Where Danielson has been there, done that. So now it's just looking at other guys like a Brian Keith and like a Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, Willie Yuta, like guys like those follow into Danielson's footsteps and now trying to put his game into their game. So that's why I would get that to Danielson.
All right,
Cam?
you got 5 minutes. Man.
Okay, Esco. Okay, Esco. You bring up a lot of you bring up a lot of very very good points. You do. You bring up a lot of very very good points, and I'm not trying to discredit or be disingenuous towards those points because you do right because you do bring up a lot of good points with Bryan Danielson. Here's what I would say about the influence of Kenny Omega. Here's what I would say about the influence of Kenny Omega. When New Japan in particular got really, really popular, got really, really hot, right? Got really, really popular, got really, really hot, and got a lot of new eyeballs on it from 2018 or from 2018, I think about 2017, 2018 till about 2019, up until the pandemic happened. Kenny Omega, or up until the pandemic happened, Kenny Omega, I think, was the biggest reason why behind that happened. Even though you had a lot of good things going on in New Japan, right? You had Okada, who was IWGP champion, or even you had Okada, who was on that legendary reign as IWGP champion. You had Naito as the Intercontinental champion. Naito is very, very popular. But I would argue that Kenny Omega played a large role in that. The fact that Bullet Club was the most popular it has ever been with Kenny Omega as the leader of it, as kind of like the leader, as the focal point of the group, to where their merch was literally, or to where they had their merch in Hot Topic, and their merch was constantly, and their merch was routinely selling out to where you had wrestling fans, or you had people who weren't even wrestling fans wearing Bullet Club merchandise, right? Wearing Bullet Club merchandise largely because of Kenny Omega. The fact that Kenny Omega had a match with Chris Jericho, or the fact that Kenny Omega had a match in the Tokyo Dome with Wrestle Kingdom with Jericho in 2018. And that match with Jericho happening is one of the key. And that match with Jericho happening, and the buzz that match got, that match got, and how highly praised and how highly well received that match was one of the biggest factors behind the formation of the third most successful wrestling company the States has ever seen, behind WWE and WCW, or behind WWE and WCW, just in terms of television ratings and gate attendance, and just in terms of television ratings and gate attendance, right? And gate attendance and attendance in general. That match he had with Jericho in 2018 was the whole starting point behind, or it was the whole starting point behind AEW and what it is today. If that match isn't as successful as it is, we don't have AEW today, which I think speaks a lot about Kenny Omega's influence. The fact that Kenny Omega started using the V trigger, and we see a lot of guys now do the V trigger in their matches, right? Do the V trigger in their matches. That says a lot, right? That says a lot about Kenny. The fact that Kenny Omega went over there, and I know AJ Styles was very successful Gaijin over there. I know Finn Balor was a very successful Gaijin over there. Kenny Omega, I would argue, right? But Kenny Omega being as successful as a Gaijin as he was, I think opened the doors for somebody like Jay White to come in and have a very successful run in New Japan as one of their top foreigners. Again, even though Finn Balor and AJ Styles did it first, or even though Finn Balor and AJ Styles were doing it first, I think Kenny Omega, right? I think Kenny Omega, was the driving force behind. I think Kenny Omega was the driving force behind that. I think he was easily the driving force
about
behind.
30 seconds, man.
My bad. So that's why. My bad. So that's why I would give Kenny. That's why. So that would be my argument for Omega. But I think both their influence is crazy. But that's why I would give it to Omega. But I think both their influence is crazy.
Tommy, what was the one you were thinking of?
I forgot I was muted. Okay. I'm actually. It's crazy. I'm gonna just chime in real quick. I had an opinion, but I didn't realize how close. After just listening to both of you guys talk, I didn't realize how close this argument actually was. It's actually holy shit. All right. We got a game on our hands. But nah, I think because I forgot the previous topic I was thinking about.
Stop
Well, let's
smoking that weed.
not gonna happen, brother.
Stay
Not
off
gonna
the
happen.
Well, the one I was
weed.
thinking was versatility.
There are also
We can do
some
that.
points.
We can do that.
I
I was
could-
gonna. It was mic work. I feel like we skipped
okay.
mic work as well. That was what I was thinking. But do y'all want to get into promo skills, mic work?
Yeah, we can do that.
And then we
Let's
can
do it.
versatility next.
I think those two go hand in
like-
hand. So yeah, I think
Okay, so I
Yeah.
guess more so versatility, but kind of I guess talk about mic work in there too.
yeah.
Wanna start with Cam? We got 5 minutes.
So we're doing so we're talking versatility, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. And has it started for me or?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. With their versatility, with their versatility in terms of their promo and with their versatility in terms of their promo work, in terms of versatility in their promo work, I think Kenny Omega, right, in terms of versatility in their promo work, we've seen Kenny Omega, right, we've seen Kenny Omega be the top guy. Right, we've seen Kenny Omega be the top guy or the number 2 guy, right? Be the top guy, right? Be the top guy for the third biggest wrestling promotion, or for the third most successful wrestling promotion that the States has ever seen, or that American wrestling, or that the American wrestling scene has ever seen. And he was a really, really good heel. He was a really, really good heel. He was a really, really good heel with the belt collector. He was a really, really good heel with the belt collector and cut a lot of really, really good promos. I remember All Out 2021 where after the match he's cutting the promo and Adam Cole comes out and it looks like Adam Cole is gonna attack him, and they hug and Kenny Omega and they hug and Kenny Omega's like, Kenny Omega's like, you thought we were gonna attack him? He's one of our best friends. He's one of our best friends in the entire world. Or like the segment, or like the contract segment on Dynamite. I like the contract segment on Dynamite where Kenny Omega was basically telling Hangman Page, "You're not good enough. You're not good enough to win this title. You'll never be good enough to win this title. I'm better than you. Right? I'm better than you in every shape of the word." Right, where we saw him be a really, really good heel as the belt collector and as the cleaner. And then we also saw him be a really, really good babyface, and where he's a really, really good, and where we've seen him be a really, really good babyface. And Kenny Omega, when he's in the ring, he's really, really good at selling a very believable beating. He's very good at selling a very believable beating, a very believable ass whooping. Let's go left. I'm sorry. He's really good at selling a very believable beating, at selling a very good ass whooping. He's a very, very good, and he's a very, very good heel. And he's a very, very, we've seen Kenny Omega be an elite heel. There's Esco. We've seen him be an elite heel and an elite babyface also. We've seen him be an elite heel and an elite babyface also. And I think the degree of difficulty to do that in the second, right? And I think the degree of difficulty to do that in a wrestling promotion that did not have, right, in a wrestling promotion that was only 3 years old in a wrestling promotion that was only 2 years old at the time, and it be the most successful period that promotion has ever had outside of now. I think that says a lot about him and his I think that says a lot about him and his versatility. I think that says a lot about him and his versatility, and also the fact that Kenny Omega is a guy that you can plug into any spot on the card and it can work. Granted, you can do that with Danielson, but you can also do that with Omega too. So versatility. You could argue Kenny has more. If not, I think they're about the same. So that would be my thing.
Okay. Esco, you with us?
Yeah. I don't know what the
All
fuck
right,
happened. I was just over here chilling and just kicking me out. But so when it comes to versatility, I feel like Bryan is the most slept on when it comes to being versatile. Like, mind you, his first couple years in Ring of Honor, or his whole entire Ring of Honor career, he was just known as the wrestler. Like how Shibata today is known as the wrestler. I feel like that's what Bryan Danielson's whole career was based off of Ring of Honor, was being the wrestler. He was the American Dragon. I mean, if you want to say like, before he was in Ring of Honor, he was.
Hold on, Esco. I'm not. Hold on, Esco. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Esco, you're lagging a bit.
Yeah, I was about. Yeah, I was gonna ask. Yeah, I was gonna ask if the lagging was. I was gonna ask if the lagging was just a me thing.
I can't hear him at all now.
I can't hear him now.
Yeah, he's just gone silent now.
Come back, Esco. He said Esco swings his feet in the air. Let me find out Esco did this whole debate with swinging his feet in the air.
Can you hear me now?
Yo, shout out Lewis, man. Shout out Lewis.
Hello?
You sound a bit better now, Esco.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Well, you actually sound really good now.
I'm sorry. Oh, shut up, Lewis. So when it comes to versatility, right? So I look at it like this, man. He is so slept on. Like, you look at his whole entire Ring of Honor career. He is the wrestler. Like, that was the only thing he was known for in Ring of Honor. He was the wrestler, the American Dragon. He was just the guy that you wanted to be the face of a wrestling company like a Ring of Honor because all he did was wrestle. But then he did the impossible for someone to WWE and switched his whole entire flow up. That man
Jesus
and
Christ, it's happening again.
Yeah, it's happening again, Esco.
Y'all remember that TWB episode when Zay lost the debate because the Wi-Fi sucked?
Yo, Tommy. Yo, Esco says he belongs in Robot Chicken.
I hope this
That's-
isn't the end. I hope this isn't the end of it. I'm having fun here. I think I'm having fun here. I think we're having.
I'm pausing the time. I'm pausing the
I
time.
think we're having a
Yeah,
very-
we've paused the time for Esco just so he
Yeah.
can get his stuff sorted.
Okay.
No, but you guys are having a good little debate.
Well, I'm enjoying this, and I think it's a good back and forth. I think it's a good back and forth discussion here. I think it's a good back and forth discussion. I wasn't trying. I think it's a good back and forth discussion. When the debate came about, I wasn't trying to. When the debate came about, I wasn't trying to put. Wasn't me trying to put down Bryan Danielson or anything, because Bryan Danielson's phenomenal. If you have Bryan Danielson as like, because Bryan Danielson's phenomenal. I have Danielson and Kenny Omega top 10 all time. So like, it wasn't me trying to put them down or anything. They're also some of my favorites of all time. But I'm enjoying this.
Hold on,
right,
hold
let's
on
go.
for a second. Hold on. Give me like 2 seconds.
All right. For chat to know, we did pause the time, but we're at about 12 minutes ago. So
12 minutes. Unless you just score. Fuck.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Ghost is here. Say what's up to Ghost while we wait. Or is he just backstage? He might just be backstage.
Yeah, he might just be backstage.
Wait, Tommy, what happened?
Fuck you.
Ah, there we go.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got now, Esco.
Okay. So this what did y'all hear last? Basically.
He was the wrestling guy in Ring of Honor.
Okay. So he was a wrestling guy in Ring of Honor. That was the only thing we known him for. He goes and do the impossible. He goes to WWE, switches his whole entire flow up. Now, mind you, we still get good in ring wrestling, but that's natural for him. What we get is something we did not see, or we saw a little bit in Ring of Honor, but it wasn't his main focus. We've seen this man work on character. We've seen this man work on an actual gimmick. We've seen this man be funny, embarrassing, uh, in love. Like we've seen Bryan Danielson go through a whole life cycle in WWE. He was a serious guy. He was the funny guy. He was the embarrassing guy. He was the lover. He was even the Mr. Earth. Like, like, like this man has been like when you talk about versatility. I think it like anybody can like switch up their flow, but are you good at it? Is it something that we can still talk about today? We can talk about Team Hell No and how funny that was. We could talk about the AJ Lee and Brian Daniels and Daniel Bryan stuff, where it ended up where he got embarrassed in record numbers at WrestleMania. Um, we could talk about the Yes movement and how he was like, how he went from all of that before and then turned it into like, okay, I'm locked in now. I deserve to be the face of the company, and I'm about to prove why. Look at my hard work, this and that. And then after that, we get Mr. Earth save the planet as a heel. Now, I feel like for somebody to have all of that packed in to one and then make it work, there is something in his career, especially in WWE, where we can pinpoint in almost every year of something that we remember, something that is worth talking about today. And I feel like we honestly don't see a lot of people do that. Like that is so slept on to me. Like I don't know. That's my reasoning for that. Louis, you
Okay.
suck.
That I do agree. That if you guys don't mind, that I do agree with. That I do agree with there. That I do agree with there. But like we've also seen Kenny Omega. We're gonna get into this probably when we get into storylines. We've also seen Kenny Omega. You could argue it's the greatest tag team storyline of all time with the Golden Lovers. We've seen that. We've seen Kenny Omega do things in DDT like him wrestling a 9-year-old girl. Like him wrestling, like him wrestling a 9-year-old girl. So like, we've seen Kenny also be able to do. So we've seen Kenny also be able to do the comedy stuff too, and not really. So we've seen Kenny be able to do the comedy stuff too, and him also be able to when it's time for him to lock in, and when it's time for him to lock in, he can lock in. But we've also seen him do the. We've seen both do the comedy stuff. Is what I'm trying to say basically. I
Yeah,
like go
that is
out there and
true. That is
embarrass.
true. That is very close. Like you said, it's very close.
Like I said, it's a
All
lot
right.
closer than I really thought about. Um,
So we're down to the last 10. I say storylines, and then they get an extra 5 minutes for like final statements. If you're down with that, Tommy.
I'm down. Let's do it.
All
We're
right.
getting the
So
storylines, bar for bar. Let's do
Esco,
it.
you go first.
Whew, okay. Now Kenny got maybe like one or two heavy hitters. That's fine. But we talk about storylines, bro. I mean, he has I'll start off with the main one, the heavy hitter, the number one of the best storylines in WWE history, the Yes Movement. The way that captivated the fans, the way that it captivated the wrestling world in general, like the Yes Movement with Daniel Bryan, it basically told his real life story in the sense of him being told he's not good enough. He's too small. He's not big enough. He doesn't have the muscle. His look doesn't fit an actual wrestler or a world champion or a top guy. He doesn't look like a Cena. He doesn't look like a Randy. And he took that. And I feel like a lot of those promos, whether it was scripted or not, had a lot of soul and heat to it. And I feel like the fans felt that. And from the time that it started all the way to when it ended, how it ended perfectly with his whole feud with Triple H, basically hijacking the main event of WrestleMania 30. Like that is a picture perfect Cinderella story. I don't think in wrestling we get a lot of those fairy tale like stories even for the women, but Brian had that Cinderella story ending for that Yes Movement and one of the best, arguably top 10 storyline in WWE history. But then you could go on and talk about like his stuff with the Wyatts and how he ended up joining the Wyatts for a while, and then when he finally broke out, the pop that he got for that, the story that they told, the long term storytelling that they told between Bray and Daniel Bryan was phenomenal. The chemistry and the start and end build between him and Kane and with Team Hell No, the beef that they had, and even all the way towards like years after that with 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 the Yes Movement, and we've seen the interactions between Kane and Bryan. The storytelling with Daniel Bryan is always there. Um, Even we could go fast forward to AEW, the storyline that he had, whether people like the Death Riders or not, the story that was told, the beginning of the Death Rider storyline was perfect because it was a perfect ending per se for Bryan Danielson. His friends and one of his closest friends and John Moxley turning on him, betraying him, and it looked like Bryan was like lost, like his soul was gone. His best friend betrayed him, and it was just like it was like I wouldn't say it's not like a top tier story, but for the year that AEW was having, it was a very good bright spot for AEW. And then we could talk about how he tried to like with the BBC or BCC, try to recruit people like Will Yuta or Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, like guys like that, like how he basically his story was he was trying to be that William Regal, especially when William Regal left. He was trying to fill that void of being I'm a leader. I will coach you. I'll be your teacher. Like his stories go, and then we can go to Ring of Honor with his stuff with Morishima, basically this big giant who Danielson couldn't beat, and then the second match that they had, probably their best match, one of the best matches in Ring of Honor, Danielson defied the odds and slayed the giant. That was like one of the rarest times we saw like around that time. Like Danielson got stories, bro. He got it.
All right.
Hey, Esco, I'm not gonna lie. Before we continue, bro, Esco, I don't even know if you caught yourself saying it, bro, but you did it again, bro. Every time you talk about the Blackpool Combat Club, you say, like,
Hey, listen. Sometimes I gotta put myself over.
golly, man.
All right,
Well,
Cam, your 5 minutes starts now, man.
all right. Well, when it comes to storylines, Kenny Omega, I think there's some storylines with Kenny that there's some storylines with Kenny that I think you could argue could give him the edge here. One of them being, again, I talked about this earlier, but I think you could make the argument that he has the greatest tag team storyline of all time. That he has the greatest tag team storyline of all time. Certainly the greatest love story ever told in the history of professional wrestling with the golden, right, with the Golden Lovers, right? With something like the Golden Lovers, for example. The storyline they told, the storyline they told in 2018, where it was basically like a Bullet Club Civil War, but where it was basically like a Bullet Club Civil War between Kenny and Cody, right? Where it was basically a Bullet Club Civil War between Kenny and Cody. With Kenny and Cody, with Kenny and Cody, you look at the Kenny and Hangman story, which for a long time until you look at the Kenny and Hangman story, which for a long time until Hangman and Swerve happened, Hangman and Omega was considered the greatest. The Hangman Omega story was considered the greatest story. Or was considered the greatest story AEW. Excuse me, was considered the greatest story AEW had ever told. And you look at the long term, you look at the long term storytelling. You look at the long term storytelling of that angle. You look at the long term storytelling of that angle with Kenny. Excuse me, with Kenny and Hangman, becoming a team. With Kenny and Hangman becoming a team, they win the tag team titles. They win the tag team titles, and we see Hangman throughout the reign has self-doubt, because Hangman doesn't believe that he's on the level. Because Hangman doesn't believe that he's on the level of he doesn't believe that he's on the level of Kenny Omega. He constantly believes that he's the weak link, or he constantly believes he's the weak link. We get to All Out. They lose the tag team titles to FTR, and Kenny Omega's like, man, fuck this shit. And Kenny Omega's like, man, fuck this shit. It's time for me to be a single star again. It's time for me to bring back the cleaner. And we see him have one of the greatest stories AEW has ever told, with Kenny Kenny telling Hangman and that entire, with Kenny telling Hangman and then with Kenny telling Hangman and that entire roster, I put belt to ass, bro. I'm unfucking touchable. I'm better than the rest of you bitches. Right? I'm better than the rest of you bitch ass niggas. I'm sorry. Can I say that word on here?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm better than you. I'm better than you, bitch ass niggas, bro. I'm just simply better than you. I'm simply better than you niggas. Something like Kenny and Okada, for example, where where you look at the story, right? Where you look at the story with Kenny and Okada, Kenny constant, right? Where you look at the story with Kenny and Okada, Kenny, he comes close to beating Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, and he couldn't do it. So we see Kenny Omega now try to find new. Right, so we see Kenny Omega. He becomes obsessed with beating Okada, and every time they meet, we're getting time limit draws, or we're getting hour matches because both these men just know each other so fucking well, and it's a battle of wills. You look at something, right, and it's a battle of wills. Again, I mentioned this earlier. Something like Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, for example, where Will Ospreay became obsessed. He literally became obsessed with beating Kenny Omega. He couldn't think of anything else but beating Kenny Omega because that's the one name he couldn't beat. That's the one name he couldn't beat. You look at the Kenny and Jericho storyline, you look at the Kenny and Jericho storyline, which rejuvenated Chris Jericho. And again, I mentioned the Golden Lovers earlier, but the Golden Lovers. But I mentioned the Golden Lovers earlier, but the Golden Lovers, the greatest tag, the Golden Lovers, you could argue that's the greatest tag team story ever told. Certainly the greatest love story wrestling has ever seen. I think Kenny, right? I think for storylines, what would probably give Danielson the edge is that he did that in WWE. Yeah, is that he did that in WWE, but he did that in WWE, which is a very hard thing to do. But again, you look at Kenny and the stories that he told in New Japan and even now in AEW, I think it's a very fairly even matchup. That's why I would personally, but I think Kenny just takes the slight edge. But that would be me.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
Okay. I suppose it's time for closing statements.
Yeah, you'll both get about 5. You don't have to use it all, but if you do, it's all good.
Yeah, so anything you felt like you couldn't necessarily say per topic because it may not have fit, or anything else you may have wanted to say for the debate that you may have not said, this is the time for it to be said. So
we'll start with Kim. Time starts now.
Okay. Again, my whole thing. Okay. I know that I have a reputation on Rated M of being very. I know that I have a reputation on Rated M and in the Discord in particular of being very hard headed. Being very hard headed, being very opinionated when I say my opinion. When I say something, when I have my opinion on something, I stand very, very firm on it. I stand very, very firm on it, and I will go back and forth with people nonstop. This is not what I wanted this debate to be, and hopefully that's not what this debate came out as. Because again, if you tell me that I think Bryan Danielson is better than Kenny Omega, I'm not going to argue it. That's not something I'm going to look at you and go, "You're stupid." If you tell me that Kenny Omega is over Bryan Danielson, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to be like, okay, I agree with you there. So again, my whole intention with this debate wasn't trying to put either man down. It was just trying to make my case as to why I think Kenny Omega edges out Bryan Danielson. But at the end of the day, these are two of my favorite wrestlers of all. These are two men who I consider two of my favorite wrestlers of all time. These are men who I think are top 10 in-ring workers of all time, which when it comes to wrestling is the main thing that I care about. I primarily care about in-ring work. I'm not saying that stories and promos and characters are not important, but personally, as a wrestling fan, the thing that I look for the most out of a wrestling show is how good is the actual in-ring wrestling on the show. And Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson are phenomenal. So Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson are phenomenal. Hopefully, we're able to entertain you guys here and have a very intelligent back and forth discussion here. And that's all I got to say.
Before Esco goes, yeah, we don't bicker and fight in our debates like those other guys. Not just playing. Shout out to Donnie. Fuck Donnie.
We are the other guys.
Oh. All right, go ahead, Esco.
All right. I don't know. I feel like I said a lot, but then also Bryan got that type of career where it's like I don't think you could ever say enough. His resume speaks for itself. I hope I know I did justice because that's my goat. That's what I do. He's the fucking like, come on now. But I will say this was a nice one on one, very even. Both sides respect. Both sides had valid points. Um, I just hope that this bitch ass nigga Tommy keep it straight down the middle and call it even. You know what I'm saying?
What the fuck, bro? Why
Damn.
did I get a stray?
I'm just
Hey,
I'm,
LOL, top guy looks like he stabbed someone. Hey, bro, who knows, bro? Who knows, bro? Anyways, God, hell of a debate. Is it time? What's the spot?
Yeah.
All
Keep
right.
rolling, man.
I was about to say, do you and Lee want to say anything as far as like maybe where you guys are leaning or what?
All right, I'll go mine first before Lee.
All right.
I'm leaning a little bit more towards Brian, but that for me that could be just because we've seen him more places than Kenny. Um, but Kenny does. I always joke with you about Kenny, Tommy, but Kenny got a top 10
Uh,
resume all time.
Okay.
But I would give the edge to Brian Danielson.
I am also leaning a bit more towards Bryan Danielson. Just no disrespect to Kenny. Like I know he is a phenomenal wrestler and I know he can do a lot of good things, but I just haven't seen enough of Kenny Omega to like really give an opinion on him. So I'm just gonna go more towards Bryan Danielson on this one.
All right. All right. Well, good thing. So I'm gonna be honest. I've seen a lot. I'm not gonna cap. I've seen a lot of Kenny. I guess in this later half, I guess of his career, if you want to call it that. Now I've definitely went back and relived the Golden Lover storyline and his Bullet Club time, and so I'm pretty familiar with Kenny's career. Same thing with Bryan Danielson. I mean, I literally watched it once he got to WWE. I'm not gonna say in the cap I was watching or say I was watching Ring of Honor when Bryan Danielson was there. I wasn't. Barely was alive. So he debuted in '99. Barely was living. So now I'm gonna sit here and cap. But after hearing your guys' arguments, going based off of my already knowledge on both of these talents, plus what I've heard you guys said, and I made an oath, I'm calling it down the middle. So with that being said, the Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson debate, Judge Tommy is going to go. I'm building anticipation. I am going to go Bryan Danielson. But Cam, listen, I'm gonna be honest. Again, before this debate, just off my knowledge alone, I honestly thought Bryan Danielson had it. I wasn't gonna say it was the clearance. But then after hearing what you actually had to say about Kenny Omega and how really close this really is when you really are going bar for bar these two guys' careers, that was I mean, Kenny Omega deadass is not that far behind Bryan Danielson at all. It's actually way closer than I actually thought. Because like Russell Spot said, we joke about Kenny all the time, and I be trolling a lot. But actually, Kenny has a really good argument of being one of those top guys like all time. When you talk about influence, storytelling, in-ring storytelling, in-ring ability. So I don't want you guys to think that's a clearance at all. I actually think it'll be fine if you had Bryan Danielson 1A, Kenny Omega 1B. I wouldn't be mad at it. But again, with all that being said, I do think Bryan Danielson does get the edge. And I think the big thing for me was because of I think the stage was bigger. That the things that Bryan Danielson did, especially when he got to WWE, it felt a little bit bigger. It felt like it pushed the business a little bit more forward than what Kenny Omega did. Yes, he did have a huge part of creating AEW, but again, I think because the stage alone, I think that's the edge. And I think that's how close it really is. It really is that close. But that's where I stand. So congratulations, Esco. And also, Esco, when you get a chance, check Discord, rest of the committee. Enigma had a very interesting debate topic he would love to do with you. So check that out. But yeah, good job, Esco. Congratulations. Cam, and I'm gonna be honest, you're welcome anytime. You're pretty good at debating. So I wouldn't be mad to bring you back on for something like that. So
I got robbed. Esco paid you before the show. That's why I lost. I got robbed.
Oh,
I'm playing. I'm playing.
no, but hell of a debate, man. Hell of a debate. Like I said, Cam, I mean, I be trolling a lot when I be blowing this Kenny agenda all the way out of proportion, but it may not be a troll no more. It's actually closer than we think. So I can't wait. Cam, I'm not gonna lie, you gave me fuel for like the next month, brother.
No.
So I appreciate you. I appreciate you.
I just want to say this though. I want to say this. I want to thank God. I want to thank all my fans,
Here we go.
especially the ones that tune into this show, because without me, Lee will be killing this show. I just want to say,
how about you show up more often, bitch?
listen, let me talk, you frog. Listen, I will be back when I be back. When I make an appearance, y'all will see me.
What does that
Listen,
mean?
I do it for my fans, Mr. BTBC. Mind you, I am the first world champion, the only two-time world champion, and I am now 2-0. Yes, 2-0 in debates. And if we forgetting the debate is when I whooped Tommy ass, when I proved that CM Punk was wrong and the shit that he did in AEW. So I am 2-0, and they can't nobody fuck with me. I
I
will
You gotta
forgot
point
accept
out you
all
any
beat Tommy
challenge.
and Jay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot all about that shit.
yeah.
Hey, I'm not
So
gonna lie, bro. I can't be the judge next time Esco's in the debate. Because whoever's going against Esco, bro, I'm all in. I don't even care what they're debating. I'm with them. This shit's crazy.
So listen, I will accept Enigma if you want to go. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna go on Discord. I'm gonna see what the debate topic is. If you
Pretty
want to
good.
go, I will make sure that I am 3-0 because
Mm.
y'all cannot fuck with Mr. BTBC. And
Mm.
also,
One
I
genius.
am forced to do this. I don't want to do this, but I was told that everybody should tune in to Talk with Blaze this Tuesday. Yada yada yada. I guess you guys should watch that shit too.
Nah.
I guess whatever.
That's hilarious. Can I give a preview for next week? Because I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Yes. So before we get out of here, chat. So next week's debate, or sorry, chat, I'm already fucking up. Not debate. Sorry, don't get excited. We're not doing debate next week. But what we are doing, it's obviously September, as we know. The year's winding down. It is finally time to hear where all of my lovely committee members, and that includes hopefully Mr. Esco here. We'll see though. But
He ain't showing up. You already know Tommy.
Oh, shut up.
I can hope. But we're gonna kind of just see where we're at as far as our top 16 seeds, men and women. Kind of see what a bracket would look like in the month of September. So just to see where we're at. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cool. Like I said, we're gonna have some more guests on stream. So should be fun. Should be a good one.
Yes, sir.
Bring your notepads because we gonna get into it.
Oh, before
This is gonna start some
we
mini
end this,
debates.
before we end
It
this,
really is.
I just want to say, everybody that's watching, I want y'all to spam right now. Y'all can spam right now. Y'all can spam in the Discord. Y'all can spam on his Twitter. Can you guys spam on anything Tommy related and call him a bitch ass nigga for not having Bandito in his top 16?
The episode ain't even aired yet. You don't even know
next
yet.
week's conversation. That's next week's conversation.
I don't go. No. It's not the list per se. You know, it's not the list. It's him downplaying Bandito. It's just that this is the you said you this is the preview of next week of how it's gonna be. I'm gonna be roasting the fuck out of Tommy. That's what it is. It's going to be a roast. We're gonna talk about the list for a little bit, but I'm roasting the fuck out of him. It will be the death of Tommy Impact. Yes.
Mike Santana
Respect my guy. It'll get nasty.
Oh.
It'll get nasty if I start saying shit like the king of collision, Roger Strong, should be in the top 16. Which
What the fuck? What are you doing?
It was a top 16 of what?
All right,
That's what I'm saying.
I was just trolling.
No. I want to know what was it was a top 16 of what?
Well, we doing wrestler of the year, so
And Bandito didn't make your top 16.
Well, Cam, I learned a lot about you tonight. All right, you value the in-ring work, which is fair. I'm not knocking it. Not knocking it at all. He just is not in my top 10 because I look in-ring is cool, but I am a bigger fan of the other side of wrestling. I am the bigger fan
He's
of
in
the
Tommy's top
character work.
16, but the problem is he's not in his top 10.
Right. Which is fine, bro. He's lucky he's in my top 16.
Bandito top 3. Bandito top
See,
3.
this is where it gets crazy.
Bandito
That's
top
nasty.
3.
That's
Bandito
nasty.
top 3.
Esco, that's nasty, bro. That's nasty,
See,
bro.
this is why y'all need to tune in next week, because I am about to dog walk the fuck out of
If
Tommy.
you show up to work, you gotta clock in first, Esco.
Listen, I have an interview with a potential client, but I will push that to earlier in the day so I can whoop your candy ass.
Oh my god.
Chad, this is
bro.
Esco,
next
you better not
Sunday.
do all this talking and not show
Matter
up.
of fact, if it is okay with y'all,
Here we go.
since y'all don't be believing me, how about, especially for a topic like this, how about next week I bring up a client of ours?
You keep calling it a client of ours, and I think it's crazy that I don't even know who this client is.
It will be revealed once the client shows up.
Business.
All right, bro.
It
That's
will
if
be
Esco shows
perfect.
up
It will be
himself.
perfect because this client knows ball. This client talks about wrestling. This client talks about the in-ring, the storytelling, everything. I feel like this client is perfect. Perfect for a convo like this.
Is Esco a part-timer? Hell yeah. The definition.
Part-timer?
I
What?
mean, I would even call him a part timer.
What's half a part?
Ha! Ha!
I think this is Esco's like 4th appearance in the past 3 months.
We need to figure out how many times
All I know is I won. Shout out to Cam. He did his thing. If this was Tommy I was facing, I would have whooped the bricks off of him. Like, I would have whooped his ass. If this was Lee, this would have
I
been
don't
like Brock
debate.
Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio or Brock versus Kofi. Like, I would have.
Oh my!
Wrestling Spot would have gave me some work. You feel me? I would have still whooped him, but he would have gave me a little couple jabs here and there. But Tommy,
No. I'm gonna show you where I shine, and I shine in current day wrestling. Don't fuck with me on the 16 list. I promise.
this motherfucker said current day, and this nigga, mind you, oh, you lucky
I'm
I
being
can't say
honest.
it. You lucky I can't say it right now.
My memory
But
is
next
too
week,
shit for a debate talking about anything past again like 2010, 2018, 2013,
fuck all that.
2015.
Fuck all that. I'm dog walking you in anything. We could talk about
Whatever,
wrestling that
bro.
happened. Listen, we can talk about wrestling that happened right now. Like literally at this at 9:19
Actually, no.
my
You
time.
have Kenta in the top 16.
Oh,
Kenta is a world
Tommy break the
champion.
sound barrier there?
Yeah,
Kenta is a world champion.
In this stream, he may be a world champion, but he's not
Mind
the
you,
top
no.
16.
He's a world champion who beat one of the hottest. First of all,
Yo, Spot, get some popcorn.
Come on, man. What are we doing?
all
What are we
right.
doing?
Next week conversation.
Yo, I wanna do-
It just doesn't make sense to me. That's all I'm saying.
I want to do one thing before we get out of here. There's 2 pay-per-views next week. I kind of just want to run through a little preview real quick.
All right, man.
Because the next time you see us for wrestling will be after these shows.
After them.
Start with All Out.
Yo, Ghost is backstage. Does he want to join us in this one?
I brought him up earlier. I think
Are
he's
we
just
doing-
watching from backstage.
Are we doing predictions? Or
Yo.
are we just putting on the card?
Predictions and,
Just do,
talking about the card.
Okay, all
Kind of
right.
rapid predictions here.
Okay, all right. Well, before you get all right. Well, for All Out, a couple things. For All Out, a couple things. One, because I've been keeping up with Collision via Twitter. One, it'll be MJF and Mark Briscoe on that show in a thumbtacks and tables match, basically a no DQ match. So that's one. Two, it's a giant 8-woman tornado. A giant 8-woman tornado tag has just been added. Julia Hart, Sky Blue, Megan Bain, and Penelope Ford versus Mina, Willow, Harley Cameron, and Queen Eminata. And then at All Out, it's going to be a fatal 4-way ladder match with the tag team titles with Brodito and 3 other teams. So those teams haven't been revealed yet.
I gotta say something real quick. My bad. Go ahead. Let's go. You can say what you gotta say first.
All right, and also I was gonna say, it's all but confirmed. It's gonna be it's all but confirmed. It's gonna be Big Bill versus Eddie Kingston. Big Bill cut a promo basically telling Eddie Kingston to meet me in Toronto They meet me at All Out, so it's gonna be Eddie Kingston and Big.
Yes, my goat is back. Yes, let's go.
Damn.
Let's go. AEW is the number one promotion yet again because Eddie Kingston is motherfucking back.
AEW is for the families.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Anyways, I would like to say this. Shout out to everybody. You know, All Out's gonna be a great show. But y'all know what I do and I do best. I got a business meeting I gotta take care
Oh,
of.
there you go.
He can't even
So
go through the card with us. God damn.
I will holla at y'all boys. Shout out Cam. Shout out my boy Wrestle Spot. Fuck Lee and Tommy.
Fuck you too. He couldn't even do a whole episode.
It's not even gonna take us that long to get through the cards.
Yeah,
We'll
true.
just run through these real quick.
He couldn't stay
Everybody
another extra 5 minutes.
I guess not.
Here we give you your rapid predictions. First, Cope and Christian versus FTR. I'm gonna guess Cope and Christian here in Toronto. Big win.
Yeah, I think Cope and Christian here as well.
100% Cope and Christian. Cam?
What's up? I'm sorry. What was the question? I'm sorry.
We're just doing our rapid predictions real quick. Who do you got with Cope and Christian versus FTR?
Cope and Christian.
But
Nice. Hurt Syndicate taking on Ricochet and the Gates of Agony. I got Hurt Syndicate.
Hurt Syndicate.
wow, guys, really already? I think Ricochet and them gotta win somehow just to keep this going a little bit longer.
I'm
I do think Ricochet.
I'm agreeing with Tommy on that one. They gotta. Ricochet's gotta win it.
I do think Ricochet badly does need a win. I will say that he's been losing a lot. I do think he does need a win, but I just don't see. I don't see Hurt Syndicate losing.
That's fair.
But I do. But I do agree. Ricochet badly needs one.
Mercedes Moné versus Rio for the TBS title. I got Mercedes retaining again.
She's not losing. Mercedes.
It should be Alex Windsor. You go first, Cam.
If it was up to me, Rio will put belt to ass, but Mercedes gonna retain her.
I personally think it shouldn't have been Rio in this match. It should have been Alex Windsor. They could have easily built it to the pay-per-view. I don't know why the fuck they didn't. Fuck Tony Khan for that one, but Mercedes is going to win this match.
John Moxley, Darby Allin coffin match. Got Darby.
I'm gonna go
the match made for Darby Allin.
Yeah,
Darby Allin's winning.
I think Moxley wins. I think Moxley beats Darby and the feud continues. I think Moxley beats
True.
Darby.
He does have the help of Danny Garcia now too.
Mm-hmm.
Is Daniel Garcia really a Death Rider, or is he just tricking everyone and trying to get in with John Moxley and then turn on him?
Y'all see what Dante said? Kim was posted?
AW
like
just
Eddie
posted.
Kingston?
Oh wow.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Big Bill versus.
Hold on.
Oh,
Big
they
Bill versus.
posted it.
Let me just bring up Twitter real quick.
Yeah, me too. I'm doing that right now. No way. Not no way. That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's fucking Eddie Kingston. Holy shit.
I mean, it looks like Eddie Kingston.
No, that's 100% Eddie Kingston. That's
Gotta
hard.
be.
Welcome back, man. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Next is MJF and Mark Briscoe tables and thumbtack match.
That just sounds insane. So we're gonna go. Does MJF lose here? I'm going to MJF. I'm gonna just stay safe.
MJF as well.
Safe. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it safe.
I'm better than you, and you know it. MJF is winning.
MJF.
Real quick side note, Tommy. Texas A&M and Notre Dame are having a shootout in the second quarter. It's 28-24.
And everybody doubted me and my pick. Who's winning?
Fuck! Tommy's team's winning.
No. It's just another game.
How is your team
Alright.
winning, Tommy? Fuck your team.
No. My team's down by 3.
Let's go. Yes. Let's go.
All right, relax.
Let's go. Let's go. Go
Fatal four-way
Tigers.
for the AEW Women's Title. Timeless Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter, Chris Statlander, and Thekla. Tony Storm.
Tony Khan only did this because he wants to throw a pump fake. Tony don't got to get pinned. No, she's winning. Tony Storm.
I think Tony Storm retained Chris Statlander walking out here with that championship.
Yeah,
Timeless Tony Storm.
it's timeless.
Three-way match for the unified title. It's gonna be a banger. Okada, Takeshita, and Mascara Dorada, or the Beast Mordos.
First of all, who the fuck's the
Okada.
last guy?
Well, yeah, I think Okada's gonna win. And the Beast is there to take the pin.
Okada.
Okada. I don't think Mortos has been added to the match. I don't think Mortos is in the match yet, but Okada's winning.
I do think though, somehow, man, we need that Takeshita and Okada singles match, bro. We need it. So I hope this is
way to
building
get
to
them
that.
in started.
And that's what I was thinking in the very near future. I think
Cam, you're going in and out, brother.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think Takeshita wins the C2 in December, and that is how we get the Takeshita Okada singles match and the Takeshita babyface turn. Because it's coming. It's obviously coming.
I forgot who told me this, but when I said fuck it, give Takeshita the C2 as well, they said I was overkill. No, give him the C2. Shout out to Cam. WK. Give him the C2. Make him the best tournament wrestler. Fuck Okada. No offense. Love Okada. Not really fuck Okada. That was me.
Then in the main event, most likely. Actually, I don't know. There's a couple matches on here like a main event. Hangman Adam Page, Kyle Fletcher, AEW title. Don Callis family is a band from ringside. I got Hangman.
Hangman's returning.
Yeah, I got Hangman as well. This is a Lee. Did you see your predictions last match?
What was the last match?
Oh, so, yeah, he did. He said,
Oh,
Okada.
okay. I'm my fault, Lee.
All right.
My fault, Lee.
All I'm gonna say is this main event. Let's look at it like this: TNT champion, AEW World Champion. Okay. do they have Kyle Fletcher become a double champion?
no.
You know,
No. They you're telling me Tony Khan saw Worlds Collide and was like, I literally have a chance to do the same thing,
But with the world title.
but with the world. I gotta one up him.
I'm
No, I'm
actually gonna go with Kyle Fletcher just for shits and giggles.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Hangman got to retain here. It's just too soon. If this was way later in Hangman's run, then maybe. But no, I think this is another Kyle Fletcher coming out party. He's gonna have another moment when he wrestled when he had it wasn't a trilogy, was it? They had 2 matches, or was it a trilogy with Will Ospreay? It's gonna be how he became who he is today because of that. It's gonna be another moment like that. He's gonna go up to another level because of Hangman.
It was a trilogy.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I thought. He looked good out of it though. So Rage Quit said drinking, smoking, nicotine, gambling, college football. I mean, sounds like a good little Saturday.
That sounds like a great Saturday, just minus the college football.
All right. Wow. Real quick. Same thing. WrestlePalooza. 5 matches at the moment. Probably end up staying that way. First WWE PLE on ESPN. But with that being said, Io Sky
Remember, guys,
versus
VPN
Stephanie Vaquero,
exists.
Women's World Title. I'm gonna go Vaquero. Because I don't know why. Why not?
I'm gonna go for Care because I have an agenda I need to continue to push. So,
All right, just because you've got that agenda to push, fuck
Oh
you. Io Sky's winning.
can't.
Nah, I'm trolling Stephanie Becker.
IVO. Yeah, I
like
think
that.
I think it would be a mistake to put the belt on Stephanie. I'm going with the
Right.
Okay.
Return
Okay.
of the Usos. They take on divisions Braun and Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker. I got the Usos here. Actually, no. I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna go with the Vision here. I'm gonna go with Jay and Jimmy having problems because Jay is trying to act like Roman and take advantage or take control, which will not work.
Mm.
The Bronze get the win.
I'm actually gonna go with the Usos just because it's the reunion. Yes, that story is very, very, very like it's compelling. It really is. But again, it's just one of those things where I think they can kind of not drag it out, but it doesn't have to be now.
Take their time.
Not yet. Let it cook. I want to see a little more Roman tendencies from Jay before it finally is over.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, everybody say it with me. Ooh, so I want to hear it. I want to hear it next Saturday, day one ish. WWE, give me what I want. I want to hear that theme song. Please have the Usos win, and then have Jay do some random bullshit to turn heel afterwards.
Wow.
Cam.
security.
Say it again.
B&B security.
Up
I like that
next, mixed tag match. The in-ring return of AJ Lee teams up with her husband CM Punk. Becky Lynch teaming up with her husband Seth Rollins. Mixed tag.
Bless me.
I'll go with Punk and AJ, with AJ getting the pin on Becky Lynch.
I 100% agree. And then AJ's gonna take the IC title from Becky.
Let's light it up, light it up, light it up, light it up. I'm not singing the other song. Fuck you, Tommy.
Oh, you come on.
Punk and AJ are gonna get the win.
Not even just say just say the hook.
The cult of personality.
All right, you good.
Punk and AJ.
Yeah.
WWE title. Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre. If they had gotten a better build, I would have said maybe possibly Drew. This is on Big PLE, but they're gonna showcase Cody winning his first one on ESPN. So I got Cody.
Cody.
Cam, you go first. I'll go last.
Cody.
God.
Cody.
All you're gonna see after the main event. Oh wait, no, it's not the main event. Fuck. Oh, all you're gonna see after this match is Drew McIntyre holding this title up high, and I'll give a reason why. First WWE pay-per-view on ESPN. If you want to make it unpredictable to rival All Out, you put that title on Drew McIntyre.
Sounds good. Anyway.
I'm also saying Drew McIntyre because we're from the same fucking place. Is Spot still here?
I don't know, but chat, what should I eat? I'm hungry. I'm trying to order some food, chat, and I don't
Sweet
know.
corn on pizza.
Nope. Looking for a fast food spot, something quick, easy.
I mean, Tommy, you're the one that backed out of the tuna pizza bet.
I'm not fucking putting tuna on anything that has tomato sauce, cheese, and bread. Not putting that together.
I mean, it's not bread; it's dough. It's not bread.
Same thing, bro. Americans call it bread. Crust.
Why is Foot Mob going off? Oh, yo, who's everyone got in this fight tonight though?
Oh, Canelo and Crawford. I'm going Canelo. That's my boy.
You know what? This is the first thing we've agreed on today. Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, that's my boy. Cam, are you familiar with that before we get into the main event?
Give me Canelo.
Yeah.
Yo, while we waiting for Spot to come back, chat, who's everyone got put in the chat? Who's everyone got in the main event of tonight's boxing match? Surprising. If you don't say Canelo, fuck you.
Yeah, you're crazy. Canelo's winning this fight tonight.
That's the only reason why I'm actually up and on this podcast right now.
Or
Because
maybe I should get wings from somewhere since the fight's tonight.
no, Tommy, here's what you're gonna want to get. You're gonna want to get a pizza.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Every Saturday at work we have pizza, so I'm not really trying to eat pizza twice.
If you have ever said it, you know what?
Unfortunately.
You know what? Let's go through memory lane on BTBC. You should get some Popeyes biscuits.
I don't even want Pop. I don't even think I eat Popeyes really anymore since then.
Well, that put you off Popeyes.
I just ate so many biscuits. I think I'm over it.
Yo, you did too much bitching about them biscuits. They were actually.
Bro, they
really
were
nice.
dry. They were dry.
Tommy, I'm gonna go to Edinburgh on Monday, and I'm gonna go to my Popeyes, and I'm gonna order about 2 or 3 of them, and I'm gonna have them with no bev. And I'll.
Bro, your biscuits are probably a little more like moisture.
Correct. That biscuit was very, very nice. Yo, where is Spot?
It looks like he said he said to go ahead and get into the Brock and Cena match. All right. Brock and Cena, who you got?
And his name is John Cena.
Oh, I was about to say, Lee. What the hell?
Fucking got you there.
Yeah, perfect timing. Look at me. I do this for a living.
Why did my phone just have a fucking
Super
heart?
Cena
Russell-
4.
Super Cena 4. Cam, who you got? The anticipation.
Drum roll, please.
Nah. I don't know if he's there right now, but I got the rest of the years. John fucking Cena. He's better than Bandito.
You're just saying that because Esco's not here to roast your bitch ass.
No, there's no way he can roast me. Cena is better than fucking Bandito.
Bandito better. That's all I'm gonna say.
Get the fuck.
And
Huh.
I've not even seen it. I've only seen one Bandito match this year.
Oh shit, it's halftime. Yeah, the Hurricanes.
Let's go
beat-
Tigers.
Oh, what?
Let's go Tigers.
All right. Anyways,
Tommy, the Hurricanes won.
yeah, they won big, and then they scored with no seconds left on the clock. What assholes!
Yo, Cam, you there?
What fucking assholes!
I'm here. I'm here.
All right, who you got? Brock or Cena?
Cena.
All right.
Because he's the
Alright,
goat.
chat. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I got to find
Anything else
food.
you want to
I'm
say before we
hungry.
get out of here?
I need food. Hey, Russell, before we head out, what would you order right now from DoorDash?
Sweet corn on pizza. Sweet corn on
Wingstop.
pizza.
Wingstop.
Wingstop. Okay.
Yo, wait. Spot. I got something we need to say before we head out. You know. Make sure you join the Discord server.
Yes.
Someone will put it in the chat, or it will be in the link in the description right after the stream goes off air. We also have we also do predictions in the server for every AEW, every WWE, every NXT, every New Japan, well, sometimes New Japan pay-per-views. 2 titles, 2 brands in the server. So if you join, pick which brand you want to be on. IWA better.
IWA better.
Even though our 2 general managers suck.
We're the
Actually, no,
best.
Only one of them sucks.
Yeah, it's just Jay.
No, it's you.
Oh.
So yeah, prediction forms Spot. I believe they'll be posted during the week.
Hopefully, aiming for Wednesday, most likely Thursday.
That's all I really got to say tonight.
Also,
let's go Canelo.
let's go Canelo.
Spot, who you got?
Canelo.
Yes, that's what we like to hear.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having
man.
me on. Thanks for having me on. I'll see you guys later. I'm out of here. Bye.
Catch you later.
Sweet. All right, let's get out of here, man.
All right, chat. If you're still watching after an hour, 28 minutes, and 48 seconds, we definitely do appreciate it. Go watch some football tonight. Go some boxing tonight. Go watch some football tomorrow. Go watch Monday Night Football and Monday Night Raw on Monday. Go watch
NXT
NXT
Homecoming on Tuesday.
NXT Homecoming on Tuesday. Run Out the Clock Friday. SmackDown Friday. You
Also fuck the 49ers.
Undisputed Wednesday.
Bless
Did you
me
say
on
that
next
already?
week.
Undisputed Wednesday. Did you say that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said that. He said over speed.
All right.
And then Wrestler of the Year episode next Sunday. We will see y'all then. Y'all be safe.
Drew McIntyre's the next world champion.